This is he knows everything, bringing you that heat and fart. Let me talk about it, man, because I have to make this very clear. LeBron James is going to get exposed this year. Magic Johnson basically put it out there that if LeBron James with this Lakers team doesn't get the job done, then they're a flop. Let me say it again. If they don't get the job done, they are a flop. I agree with Magic Johnson, but they're not going to get the job done because of the player who is running the helm. Your basketball player, your number one option one, it has to be a guy who in pressurized situations can close. It has to be a guy who can deliver in pressurized moments. It has to be a guy in defining moments that knows how to close it out. If your option one is not able to do this, then Houston, we have a problem. LeBron James has never been known to be a closer. LeBron James has never been known to be a basketball player who closes the show. LeBron James makes the supposed right play, and the supposed right play that he usually makes is the wrong play. Because in basketball, when you are a superstar of superstars, when you are that guy, when the game is on the line, you tell motherfuckers, get the hell out the way, give me the ball, and let me do what I do best. This is why Kevin Durant usurps LeBron James, because Kevin Durant knows when the game is on the line, I'm chugging that thing up. Basketball at its highest levels is always defined by that. I don't care what anybody tells me. And I can argue this down with the best of them. When the game is on the line, this is how you know who is the star of stars. This is how you know who is quintessentially the guy. Not afraid of the moment. Not afraid of being fouled. Always willing to hit free throws. Free throws is so underrated. People don't understand that. Willing to rebound. Willing to defend. Willing to play on both sides of the ball. When was the last time you seen LeBron James play on both sides of the ball? I've never seen it. LeBron James at his best defensively was a chase down blocker. Not an on-ball defender. A chase down blocker. That was him at his best. And he doesn't even do that anymore. You got Russell Westbrook. A guy who is known as a ball clogger. They're going to bump heads. This is not going to work. And I don't understand why people think it's going to work. I don't understand why people are wrapping their brains around the actuality of thinking that this charade is going to work. LeBron James revealed his basketball brain. And to be honest with you, he was desperate because nobody was going out there to play with the Los Angeles Lakers. Nobody was going out there to play with LeBron James because people know he's at an advanced stage. And even when he wasn't at an advanced stage, for years now, guys haven't been wanting to play with LeBron James. Can you blame them? I don't blame them. I understand the rationale behind it. I understand why they wouldn't want to play with a LeBron James. Why would you want to play with LeBron James? The guy is not a complete basketball player. The guy's free throw percentage is atrocious. He doesn't play defense, and he's a team obliterator. Every blame is going to be finding everybody else outside of LeBron James. That's how it's always been, and that's how it's always going to continue to be. Carmelo Anthony. This is a guy who doesn't play defense. He gives you offense barely. Now he's an inconsistent offensive player. There was a time where you could count on Carmelo Anthony, a lethal scorer, a bull, like Kobe Bryant said, on the offensive end. This is a guy you couldn't freaking guard for the life of you. But he's no longer that person. He's basically a quintessential role player that comes off the bench. And you'll be lucky if you get quality production from him on any given night. The only player that the Los Angeles Lakers have is Anthony Davis. We saw that in the blowout game when the Brooklyn Nets blew out the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis played. It was 123-97. Let me say it again. It was 123-97. But one thing we saw there that was startling and that was dangerous, and I admit that, is Anthony Davis cannot be stopped. Problem is, Anthony Davis is Anthony Frailvis. Anthony Davis is one blow away from being injured. I said that years ago when I talked about Anthony Davis. I talked about how Anthony Davis is injury prone, which is troubling for the Los Angeles Lakers, because when you're dealing with a guy who gets injuries consistently, like the likes of an Anthony Davis, it puts you in a precarious situation. It puts you basically, what we would say, in a position where you can't trust anybody else outside of this guy. The Los Angeles Lakers are in a bad rut because the Los Angeles Lakers are not the team that people think that they are. This is why they're going to get exposed. This is not a bubblicious title. This is not a fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot title. This is not a least path of resistance title. This is not an infinite Tsukuyomi or virtual reality. You got to understand, this is why they hate KD and Kyrie, because these guys together are literal, you say 50, 40, 90, right? These guys are literally 60, 50, and 100 together. This is how their scoring is. This is how lethal these guys are from a basketball standpoint. We saw this right before Kyrie Irving went down. Kyrie Irving was outpacing Chris Middleton. And Kyrie Irving doesn't get credit for it, but Kyrie Irving was out defending. He was basically limiting Chris Middleton. A lot of people didn't pay attention to that low-key defense that Kyrie Irving was playing on the basketball court. He was actually limiting and putting hellified defense against the likes of a Chris Middleton. This is exactly what he did on the basketball court. Does he get absolute credit for it? No. Will he get credit for it? No. This is the bottom line. This is why Magic Johnson put the pressure that he put on LeBron James and the Los Angeles Fakers. The reason why I call them fakers is because they're fake. They're not a real basketball team. They're not a real product. Dwight Howard has been goof troop for a number of years. He's super goof troop now. He basically taken a lot of people by name recognition, not by abilities on the basketball court, and put them together. This is what La Desperation looks like. This is what happens when you get first rounded. You have to go over there and put a circus show together. You got to go over there and put a shit show together. Or let's contextualize it, a little shit show. And that's exactly what happened with the Los Angeles Fakers. They're fake. Nothing about them is real. And anyone that's sitting there thinking that they're going to get over the hump and they're going to get the job done, hits are things that make you say, Hits are things that make you say, But the biggest picture, the biggest hot pocket topic that you guys need to talk about is Magic Johnson's decree to LeBron James. We've seen this before. Great basketball players put out a decree to a LeBron James. And time again, when that level of pressure finds LeBron James, he doesn't deliver. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show out. You know what in actuality what happens? He gets scared, if we're being honest. The Los Angeles Fakers are a bunch of non-symmetrical, non-harmonious basketball players that have been put together just to make you think that they're a super team. And it revealed what LeBron James' legacy is always about. Basically, stacking the cards of the deck, even when it doesn't work. It worked with Miami because he had symmetrical players with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. It worked with the Cleveland Cavaliers because he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. But it's not going to work with this circus show because Russell Westbrook revealed why LeBron James has lost it, completely lost it, and why La Desperation has found him. Because these two guys, they're not gonna work. They're gonna bump heads. There's gonna be a problem. Russell Westbrook has even though he doesn't have the game, he has a Kobe Bryant DNA in him. That's automatically gonna bump fucking heads. Carmelo Anthony already talked trash and omitted LeBron James off of his all-time list. This team's not gonna work, man. Dwight Howard, when have we seen Dwight Howard on the level that he was on with the Orlando Magic? We've not. So we have to be honest with ourselves. So when Magic Johnson is putting this pressure on LeBron James, it's Magic Johnson's way of really kicking LeBron James when LeBron James basically did a coup with Jenny Buss and Rob Pelinka to get Magic Johnson out of Los Angeles Lakers. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat true teller fashion. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.